So today we have to start our main topic, that is our IP addressing. And before today, like we have completed a couple of topics. One of the topic was like local area net types of networks we have seen, and we have seen the types of topologies. So there are some new people here, new friends joining today. So if you want to see, if you want to like go through those topics, just go to the DURGASOFT channel again, YouTube DURGASOFT, and yeah, go to DURGASOFT. Here you can see the CCNA classes. This was yesterday's CCNA class. We have seen the topologies and all those things here. So you can just go through these classes. You can get all the basic idea what you have to get. Okay. So today is our major topic, and that is our IP address. See, before I start IP addressing, I just want to tell you something. Like, I have covered many things in my career, like starting from Windows Server administration, Linux administration, firewalls, virtualization. Now I'm into cloud computing for many years. I have covered many things. From my experience, I can say one thing for sure. 80 to 85% topics in your networking courses, whatever courses you are learning, maybe Linux or maybe cloud or whatever, 80 to 85% topics are like very easy to understand. They are very logical and they are very simple and very easy to understand. There are some topics like 15 to 20% topics which takes a bit more time for you to understand, which takes a bit more practice from your side to understand. 80% is easy. Around 15 to 20% it takes more time and it will take more practice. So IP address is one of the topic that comes in the 20% part. It will take some time to understand, and it will like take some more practice to go a bit deep into this IP concept. But I can say one thing with 100% guarantee here. If you're good in IP addressing concept, you will be good in all the other concepts. IP address is the most important topic, or one of the most important topic you will learn as a administrator in your career. Whether you're going with like cloud computing or security or virtualization or server administration, Windows or Linux or whatever, or maybe ethical hacker or whatever, IP address concept is one of the most important concepts. So this is the topic we are starting today. That is the one thing. Second thing is, it will take 5 classes for me to cover IP addressing. But I may go with 6 classes. The reason is, if you learn IP addressing very well, for rest of your life, IP concept will remain same. For next 2, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, the IP address concept will remain same. IP address concept will not change. Okay, so whatever courses you do in coming months and years, you should have the knowledge of IP addressing for sure. And CCNA is the only course where you are learning IP addressing in all details, with many examples and all the details you are learning only in CCNA. So for that reason, I may spend one more extra class for you. We may go with like 6 classes instead of 5 classes. Done? Now let us start our IP addressing concept. IP address. IP stands for Internet Protocol, and it says clearly it is an address. So let us see what exactly is an IP address. First of all, it is also known as a software address or a logical address, but the technical name is IP, Internet Protocol address. Now what it says here, every device must be assigned with an IP address. Means, suppose there is a computer network where there are 20 devices. And when I say device, I'm talking about computers, servers, routers, switches, firewalls. I'm talking about all the devices. I'm not talking only about a computer. I'm talking about all the devices that we have in a computer network. So maybe there are 20 devices in a company. Maybe there are 200 devices, or even there are like 20,000 devices in a company. So if there are devices connected with each other, that is a network. So in that network, every device must have one IP address. We must configure IP address on each and every device. A device will communicate with another device if there is an IP address on your device and the other device. Without IP address, communication is not possible. Imagine you have taken a cable and you have connected 2 computers directly. You just did the connection. They will not communicate with each other, because on your computer, if there is no IP, or on the other computer, if there is no IP, they cannot communicate with each other. So IP address is a number that we need to configure on each and every device, that we need to assign on each and every device, because without IP address, communication is not at all possible. Done. IP address should be there on each and every machine within our company. Maybe imagine there are 3,000 computers, 200 servers, there are 20 routers, there are 175 switches, and there are some firewalls, there are some printers on each and every device. Minimum one IP address should be there. And there are certain devices like a router. There are multiple IP addresses on router. Hardly we see any router with a one IP address. That's not possible. At least 2 IPs will be there. In some cases, there can be 4 IPs. In some cases, there can be 10 IPs. In some cases, there can be 20 IPs. So there will be there can be multiple IP addresses on a device. At least one should be there, or it can be more than one. So what is the concept of IP? Internet protocol is a number that we need to configure, or that we need to assign on each and every device, because without IP address, communication is not possible. Now, this is our computer network. Remember, I told you computer network is internet and intranet. What is intranet? Intranet means your company's network. 5 computers, 500 computers, 10,000 computers, that is within the company. But what about internet? Internet is a public network. Any person can connect to internet. You just need to have the internet connection by using your mobile phone, or by using laptop, or by using a tab, or by using your desktop. You can connect to the internet. So what you connect on internet, what you access over the internet? Normally we go and access Facebook, we access Google, we access YouTube, or we access our mails. There are many sports websites, there are many news websites. So we know what is there over the internet, right? Now see, whenever you are accessing google.com, first of all, your machine has a IP address. Your machine can be a laptop, or a mobile phone, or maybe a desktop machine, whatever. Your machine has a IP address. And the second thing is you are connected to Google server. That Google server also has a IP address. Got it? Your machine has a IP. Google also has a IP. You are connected to Facebook. Your computer has a IP address. Your mobile phone has a IP address, as well as the Facebook server has a IP address. So whichever website you are accessing over the internet, every website has a IP address. So the computer network, all the devices will communicate with each other by using the IP. If there is a IP in my computer, and if there is no IP in your computer, still there is no communication. So IP should be there on each and every device. You know, there are nearly 2 billion websites over the internet. There is the data actually, nearly or approximately there are 2 billion websites. This data will go up and down. It's not constant, but 2 billion is a huge number. Yes. Now, every website has one IP address. Every website has at least one IP address. Remember, I told you last time, I showed you, right, how to check the IP address of a particular website. Just go to CMD and select ping cisco.com. So once we say ping cisco.com, you can see one address here, 72.163.4.185. That means this is the IP address of Cisco. I just copied this address, 72.163.4.185. I then go to the internet now, the browser, and I'll just enter this IP address here, same IP. See, I'm connected to cisco.com website, isn't it? So we have IP address on each and every website. We have IP address for each and every website over the internet. Done. Now, the next thing we need to understand here is from where we are getting IP addresses. Tell me, when was the last time you assign an IP address in your computer or a laptop or maybe your mobile phone? In a mobile phone, never, right? In a computer, maybe sometime you assign the IP address, but in computer and laptop also 90% cases, you're not assigning the IP address. What you do, you just switch on the computer. Okay, the internet cable is already connected there. So you switch on the computer, you go to the browser, you start accessing internet from there, right? But did you assign the IP address there? No. The reason is IP address will come automatically in your computer. There are 2 ways of assigning IP address. One is called static way, another one is called dynamic way. Static means as a user, you are assigning the IP address. Let me show you one demo here. I'll show all these things in details in MCSE class as well as in coming CCNA classes, how to assign IP addresses. Okay, so go to this Ethernet, right click on this Ethernet, go to properties. And once you go to properties, there is something called IP version 4. Click on this IP version 4, then go to properties. And this is the place where you can assign the IP address. Right now, I'm assigning the IP address as 1.2.3.4. So this will become my IP address in this computer, 1.3.4.1.2.3.4. Okay, assign the IP address, then assign the subnet mask. There are some more addresses we need to assign, we will see. But like this, we need to assign the IP address. But can you see there is an option here? It says obtain an IP address automatically. That means the computer or your machine can get a IP address automatically also. Instead of we assigning the IP address statically, the machine can get a IP address dynamically. So how the machine will get IP address dynamically? It will take like a couple of classes for us to understand. There is a topic called DHCP server. There we can see like how the machine can get the IP address automatically. But as of now, whether it is computer or a server or whether it is a router or a switch or maybe a mobile phone, every machine will get a IP address. So we can assign the IP address statically as well as dynamically. Got it? Now, but from where we can take the IP address? When I say number, like suppose if I say a phone number here, let me take a very basic example. If I say a phone number, like say something, something, something. If I say this is my phone number, will you accept this number as a phone number? Of course, no, right? Because this number is not 10 digits. So in India, we will use 10 digits, right? How many I'm using now? 3, 3, 6, 7, 8. I'm using only 8 digits here. So this is not a phone number. We know this very well. Some more numbers should come. Or if I say a number like this, AA, will you accept this as a phone number? You should not, right? Because it is, we cannot use alphabets in our phone number. So there is some rules and regulations. There are some rules and regulations we need to follow. If someone is calling you from some other country, you know what that person have to do? Place 91, or is it 1991, right? Yeah. They have to add place 91 and then they have to write your number. So like this, they can make a call. Or suppose you are making a call to a person who is in some other country. So there is some other code we have. So that code we need to add, then we have to add the number. Isn't it? So this is the way the phone numbers will work. There is a process there. Okay, there is a process, and that process you should know. In the same way, IP address is also has a design. IP is just not a random number. You just cannot take any XYZ number. For example, if I take a number like 192.168.1.10, this is a correct number. 192.168.1.10 is a correct number. But what if I say like 192.365.4.159? This is an incorrect number. This is incorrect, and this is your correct number. But what is the difference? In the first example, I was using some numbers. In the second example, also I'm using some numbers, right? I'm using the same design here, 192.168. Here also I'm using the same pattern here, 192.365. something. But still one number is correct, one number is incorrect. Okay. So the concept here is the internet service providers, they will provide you the IP address. So we have to go to this ISP. Remember ISP? Internet Service Provider. This internet service provider people, they will provide a IP address. Okay, if I ask you a simple question, you have a phone number for sure. I'm using my number for last 15 years. I'm using the same number for last 15 years. So from where I have taken that number 15 years before, or from where you can take the number today? Like suppose if you want to use a Airtel number, what you should do? You should go to the Airtel website, or you should go to the Airtel center, which is nearby your house. Go there, provide your ID proof. So what that person will do, they will select a number for you, or they will show the numbers. You can select a number for yourself. So if you want to take a phone number, you have to go to that Airtel office, or maybe Jio office, or maybe BSNL office, or maybe like Vodafone office, whatever. From there only we can take a number. Can I take a phone number from a place like hospital or from some other XYZ place? That's not possible, right? I have to go to this Airtel office. So in this same way, if you have to take the IP address, From where you can take the IP address? From this internet service providers. They will provide you the IP address. Got it? Now, in Hyderabad city, there are many ISP providers available. There are many internet service providers available. Suppose the internet service provider has assigned a number to me, like say 20.2.2.2. This is a number. They have assigned this unique number to me. Now, I'm in Hyderabad. Some other person is there in Chennai. A very simple logical question. In Chennai, can this person use 2.2.2.2 IP address in Chennai? The Hyderabad ISP has already assigned the IP address to me, 20.2.2.2. Can any other person, can they use the same IP address in some other city maybe, or some other country maybe, or some other continent maybe? I got the answer here as S. One is no. You know, just now we have seen the IP address of cisco.com, right? 72.142. something. That IP address is associated with Cisco website. You know, no person on the face of the earth can use the same IP address again for their website. That is literally not possible. Can you make a website with the name cisco.com again? No. You cannot make a website with the name cisco.com again. And the second thing is you cannot use the IP address used by Cisco, or you cannot use the IP address that is used by any person. I have a phone number. Like I said, I'm using the phone number for 15 years. So for last 15 years, the number is associated with me. No other person can use that number. No other person can use a number in that mobile phone, in their mobile phone. That is literally not possible. So IP addresses are unique number. These IP addresses are not repeated. Once a company gets an IP address, once they take an IP address from ISP, the same IP address cannot be repeated by any other person or any other company all over the globe. Maybe there is a place in America, let us say a state like Ohio. It's a big city, it's a big state, and in that Ohio there are like many cities and there are many towns. Suppose imagine there is a small town somewhere, and in that particular small town they are making a website for their business. So for that website they have to take the IP address. So they have taken some IP address. Now from America, let us come back to India. Suppose in India there is a state like, suppose say like Telangana. In Telangana there is a city like Hyderabad. In Hyderabad there is a place like, let us say, Kukatpalli. In Kukatpalli there is a person who is making a website for his business. Now this person who is making a website for his business, he need a IP address. So his IP address will be a unique number. The person in Kukatpalli who is using an IP address, this IP address cannot be used by any XYZ person. Now how that is possible, how they can maintain so uniqueness? They can maintain that so uniqueness globally because there is one organization that is responsible for maintaining all these IP addresses. I repeat, there is an organization who can use this address, or who are maintaining these addresses in a database. So once a person in Hyderabad, in Kukatpalli is using an address, that address will be removed from the database. So no other person can use the address. Okay, and that organization is actually called as Ayana, Internet Assigned Numbers Authority. This is the organization that is responsible for designing the IP addresses and distributing the IP addresses globally. They say like, okay, under Ayana, we have how many continents? We have like Asia, Africa, America, South America, North America, Europe, and Australia, right? So under this Ayana, there are some sub departments or sub branches. One branch is for Asia. So what these Ayana people have done, they said, okay, these are the numbers we are reserving for you. So you can take this number, not reserving in a way, but you know, these are the numbers for you. And these are the numbers for like South America. These are the numbers for like North America. Under Asia, we have a country, our country like India. Under India, we have BSNL, which is a government. So like this, there is a structure there. There is a whole structure. That means if a IP address is used by you or me somewhere in India, the same IP address cannot be assigned to any other person because this particular organization, Internet Assigned Numbers Authority, they are maintaining all the database. They are maintaining all the database. Okay, I got a question here, like using different prefix. what is prefix and what is all these things that we will see after some time, Ambuj. But right now, I can say one thing: the IP address is a unique address. It cannot be repeated anywhere. Using same prefix or using different prefix, it cannot be repeated anywhere. Got it? So this is the organization that is responsible for maintaining and distributing all the addresses. So when I say internet service provider here, this internet service provider is working under the Ayana. This internet service provider, they are working under this Ayana. And it's not easy for us to go to Ayana to take the IP address. So if you want to take a mobile phone, like a Samsung mobile phone, what you do? Will you go to the Samsung manufacturing company, or will you just go to any shop, XYZ shop, which is nearby your locality? You just go to any XYZ shop, right? From there, we can take the mobile phone. No need to go to the Samsung company. No need to go to the manufacturing company where they are manufacturing, and no need to purchase from there. Here also same. We will not go to the Ayana. We will just go to the ISP and we will take IP address from this ISP. Got it? So IP address is indeed a unique address, which is not repeated anywhere on the face of the earth. Now, I hope you are getting what we are discussing now. The things are becoming more clear, hopefully. So I just repeat again, IP means internet address. It is the most important part of a computer network communication, whether it is within the company or whether it is over the internet. Without IP, communication is not possible, and on every device, at least one IP address should be there. Okay. And normally we go and take IP addresses from the internet service providers. Done. So please take 30 seconds. Just try to revise what we have said in last 20 minutes. Then hopefully we will see some more things. Okay, fine. So I hope it is clear now. So let us continue. Now, there are some numbers that we need to understand. IP address is a numbering concept, right? So there are different numbers we use. Like for example, if I say a number like 10, we know this number 10, right? Very well. If I say 10 in Roman letter, you know, this is 10. This is not X. This is 10. This is not like, you know, V and 1, 1. This is what? This is 7. That means there are different ways of writing a number. There are different ways in which we can write a number. We can use in Roman letter. We can use in normal numeric letter. There are some other ways also in which we can write a number. So there are certain numbers that we need to understand here. One is, let us say, decimal number. What is decimal number, friends? Decimal number is the number that we use regularly. Like suppose if I say my car number is, let's say, 375. So when I say 375, I am referring to a decimal number. Isn't it? When I say like 75 rupees, 75 is again a decimal number. So that is your decimal number. Okay. So decimal numbers are the numbers that we use regularly in our life. When you talk about your mobile phone or a bike number, or when you write some money on your checkbook or wherever, that is a decimal number we are using. Binary numbers. I hope everyone knows what is a binary number. Binary number means 0 or 1. What is binary number? Binary number is 0 or 1. The decimal number is used by user, that is you and me. But binary numbers are used by whom? You know, what is the language of your machine? We have a language, right? We can communicate in Telugu, or maybe in Hindi, or maybe like English, or if you know German, you can communicate in German or Chinese or French or whatever language you can communicate. That is a language for humans. You know what is the language of machine? Anyone, please? Machines will use a particular language to understand what we are trying to enter there. Machines will use a language to communicate with each other. What is the language of our machine? The language of our machine is ASCII. American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Binary, exactly. The language of a machine is binary. See, I have written something like communication here. Can you read this communication? Of course you can read because it is in English. COMMUNICATION, that is in English. But you know, for a machine, this communication is in binary in the background. Here it is written as possible. That is in English again, but for a machine, it is in binary. Here we can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is in decimal. We can read it clearly. That is in decimal. But for a machine, it is in binary. So binary is a language that is used by a machine. And what is the binary language? 0 or 1. For me, it is possible, POSSIBLE. But for a machine, it is either 0 or 1. For me, it is written as 4 here. That is in decimal number. But for a machine, it is either 0 or 1. So binary is the language of your machine. Just remember this, friends. Binary is the language of your machine. Decimal is the language that we use. And there are some other numbers also. There is something called hexadecimal number. What is a hexadecimal number? Hexadecimal number is a combination of decimal number and some alphabets like A, B, C, D, E, F. That is a hexadecimal number. Combination of alphabets up to F only and combination of numbers. That is all hexadecimal. So when you see a bike number or a car number, there is not hexadecimal. Bike number or a car number is not a hexadecimal. On a bike number, let me just check some bike numbers here. Hopefully I'll get some number. Okay, bike number plate. Let me just show you this once. Okay, this is some number. You can see KLAH6791. This is a mixture of alphabets and number, right? But I'm using K, I'm using L here. This is not hexadecimal. Hexadecimal means a number that uses only alphabets between A to F. That is called hexadecimal number. So these are the three numbers we need to understand. What is the octet that we will see? But binary numbers, decimal numbers, and hexadecimal numbers. Binary numbers are 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, whatever. There is no other number besides 0 and 1. Hexadecimal means all the numbers between 0 and 9. If I say 175, that means I am saying 175. That is a decimal number. Okay. And hexadecimal number means any number between 0 to 7 or 0 to 9 and then A to F. Combination of this number is a hexadecimal number. Okay. Done. Now, when you talk about IP addressing, there is a very small connection we have to make here. Many people, when they talk about IP address, they fail to establish this connection. But please listen carefully. IP address is actually a binary number. So when I talk about IP address, it is a binary number. Okay. When I say 192.168.1.10, remember that was the address we used before 1.10. Now tell me, is it a binary number or a decimal number? What you see on your screen, 192.168.1.10. Is it a binary number or a decimal number? You can see clearly, right? It is a decimal number. Yeah, Ambush. It is a decimal number, right? It is not zeros and ones. It is decimal number. But what I said just now, I repeat what I said. I said IP address is a binary number. IP address is a binary number. Now the connection here is IP is a binary number for machine and IP is presented in decimal number for user. This is a very, very big statement that we need to understand. IP address is a binary number for a machine, but IP address is presented in decimal for a user. So for me, I am a user. You are a user. Whoever is using a computer or whoever is assigning IP address in a machine, he is a user. So for me, IP address is in binary. sorry, for me, IP address is in decimal. 192.168.1.10 is in decimal. But you know what will be the binary? This is actually binary. This is exactly the binary. We will see what is binary decimal in more details. But the binary of 192 will be like this. The binary of 168 is like this. The binary of 1 will be like this. And the binary of 10 will be like this. Tell me which one is more easier to remember and easier to assign? Of course, 192, 168, 1.10 is more easier to remember, right? Instead of remembering zeros and ones and zeros and ones. So IP address is presented to the user in the form of decimal, but IP address is in binary in the background. Got it? IP address is in binary in the background. Only for a user, it is in decimal. I repeat again, friends, only for a user, it is in decimal. But for a machine, it is in binary. If I say a number like this, for example, 172.16.23.159. This is in binary. Of course, this is in decimal. 172.16.23.152 is in decimal. But for a machine, it will be some binary. Some binary number will be there. Got it now? IP address is in binary. IP address is designed in binary, but for a user, IP address is presented in the decimal form because users can understand the decimal form easily compared to binary. I'll give 30 seconds here for you, friends, just to understand this particular point. Still, if you are confused, we will see, or else we can go to the next point. See, I'll try my level best to present IP addressing in the best way possible. You know, if you learn IP addressing for rest of your life, this concept will remain same. And for rest of your life, whatever technologies, whatever courses you are learning in networking, no need to go back to the IP addressing concept again. That much we need to learn in CCNA. One of the main reasons for designing the CCNA course is IP addressing actually. Got it? So please take your time, 30 seconds, just try to revise. Still, if you are confused, we will see, or else we can move to the next part. Okay, fine. So I hope everything is clear here. Let us move to the next part now. So IP address is a binary number for a machine and IP address is presented in decimal form for a user. Very simple, right? Let us continue. Now, IP address is of two versions. One is called IP version 4 and another one is your IP version 6. These are the two versions of IP addresses we have. I hope you know the meaning of version. In a general way, version means like, you know, a new model or a new series, whatever you can say, it's a new version. Okay, so IP version is a version 4 and version 6. IP version 4 was designed around 40 years before. That was the time when the IP version 4 was designed. And IP version 6 is designed in 1990s. I have seen many people, they say IP version 6 is a latest number. So when I say 1990s, it is not latest, right? It did not came in 2021 or 2020. It came in 1990. So it is also old number. But still 90% cases, we are using IP version 4 only. Still 90% cases, we are using IP version 4. There are very few companies which are using IP version 6 because in IP version 4, it is more flexible. We have like more options in IP version 4. That is the reason companies still they are using IP version 4. Okay, why they are using that we will see in more details. But as of now, there are two versions. One is IP version 4 and IP version 6. IP version 4 was designed in around 40 years before, 1970s actually, late 1970s. And IP version 6 is designed in 1990s. But the big question we need to address here is if there was IP version 4 available, what was the need of designing IP version 6? Why they have designed IP version 6 when IP version 4 was already available? Isn't it? It's a very simple question, right? Okay, I'll ask you another question in context of this question actually. I hope I'll get an answer here. See, 15 years before when I started using my number was 9491 something something something. Okay, so this is the number. And my number started from which number? My number started from number 9, right? That is the phone number I'm starting. But today when you see the phone numbers, the numbers will begin with 8, 7 as well as 6, right? Now, can you please tell me, friends, what was the need for them to start the phone numbers with number 8 and number 7? Number 6. If you go with number 7, still we have like 10 digits. If you go with number 8, still we have like 10 digits. Okay, so the question here is, if number 9 was in the 2004, 5, 6 at the time, it was only number 9. So if number 9 was there, why there is a need to start the phone number with number 8 or number 7? Exactly, very simple, right? Because of users increase, more number of users. It's a very simple answer, right? For example, imagine this is a phone number. I hope this number does not belong to anyone. I'm just using example here. This is the phone number of any person. How many numbers totally? Totally 10 digits. Now, can we see the same number associated with any other person? No. So whatever numbers we have with this number 9, most of the numbers are taken by people. So there are not many new numbers available. Okay. So to increase the numbers, they have changed the number 8. So again with 8, this number is possible, right? That is possible. So 2 people can use this number. One person can use 900 and ones. Another person can use 80. It's a completely different number. So it's a very simple logic, right? So with number 9, the IP addresses were limited. The phone numbers were limited. So people started taking more mobile phones. So they started releasing a new number. That's the concept. Great. Same logic here. IP version 4 was designed in 1970s. So in 1970s, when they designed the IP address, they designed the IP address with certain number of bits. They designed the IP address with certain number of bits. How many bits they have taken in IP version 4? They have taken totally 32 bits. How many bits they have taken in IP version 6? They have taken 128 bits. So what exactly is this bits means? For example, if there is one bit 0, the other bit can be 1. So how many combinations we got here totally? 2 combinations, right? Now, for example, you are taking 2 bits 0, 0. Let us see how many combinations we will get. 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. So totally how many combinations I got? I got totally 4 combinations. So if you take this many bits, how many unique combinations you can get? Okay, I'll take 3 bits now. 0, 0, 0. So let us see how many combinations we'll get. 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. You know how many combinations we got here? We got totally 8 combinations. First combination is all zeros and the last combination is all ones. Am I repeating any number here, friends? 0, 1, 1 is one combination. Is there any 0, 1, 1 again? No. So that means how many bits you have, that many combinations you can get. So how to do this calculation? Can I do this calculation like this? Like suppose if there are 5 bits now. Can I just write all the numbers here till 1, 1, 1, 1, 1? How many combinations you get here? It's very difficult to calculate like this, right? So there is an easy way of calculation, and that way of calculation is 2 power 2. 2 power 2 is how much? 4. Very simple. So if you have 2 bits, how many total combinations you are getting here? 4. Now 2 power, how many bits we have here? 3. So 2 power 3 is how much? 2 power 3. It is how much? 8. Very simple. We can just use the 2 power table. Okay, so we have totally 8 bits, 8 combinations here. See, we got totally 8 combinations. Very simple. Okay, if there are 5 bits, then how many combinations we will get here? Let us see. 2 power 5 is 32. So if you do the calculation here, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, whatever, the first combination is all zeros and the last combination is all ones. So totally how many combinations you get here? Totally you will get 32 different combinations. So this is the easy way of calculating like how many combinations we will have or how many combinations we will get if there are this many numbers available. Got it? If there are this many numbers available, we can easily find out like how many combinations we can get. But why I am using base as 2? Why not 3 power 2, 4 power 2, 5 power 2, or 10 power 2? I cannot use 3, 4, 5 or any other number beside 2. The reason is binary number is 0 and 1. So that is the reason I am using base as 2. Then power, how many number of bits you have. If you have totally number of 8 bits, 2 power 8 will be 256. Got it? So this is the way we can see. Now see, IP version 4 is how many bits? 32 bits. So 2 power 32. Now this is 4 billion plus. Now imagine you are in 1970s or you are in 1980. If you are in 1980 and if someone has told you there are more than 4 billion IP addresses we have in IP version 4, what would I have said then? You would have said like 4 billion is a huge number, right? In 1980, friends, how many computers were there in companies, or how many companies were there which were using computers then? Hardly some thousands of computers were there in 1980 all over the globe, right? Or maybe let's say like some couple of lakhs, 5 lakhs, maybe like say 10 lakhs. Just for safe side, let us select 10 lakh computers were there. But how many numbers we have now? 4 billion numbers we have. So when they design IP version 4, they have designed IP version 4 by taking 32 bits. And they said like, okay, 32 bits means we have 4 billion IP addresses. So this 4 billion IP addresses are like too much. They thought in that way. But when we enter in 1990s, internet came. Internet is like, 32, 33 years old. Internet was not there in 1980 actually. So it was only private networks, not public. So then in 1990s, internet came. Now, when internet came, how it was like so successful. Google came in 1980s, Yahoo came in 1990s. So when internet came, the idea of internet was so simple and so easy that every person started connecting to internet. They were connecting the devices to internet. They were like taking their business to internet. So like I said you before, every website or every device needs an IP address, right? So in 1990s, everyone was started connecting to internet. So then they realized this 4 billion number is nothing. Then they realized this particular 4 billion number is nothing. Then they started designing a new number, and that new number they design is of the new number that they design is IP version 6. So what is the basic difference they have done in IP version 4 and version 6? In version 6, they simply increase the number of bits, because if there are more bits available, there are more combinations possible. So how many bits they have taken? They have taken 2 power 128 bits. Now see the number, how much number we have here. Million, billion, trillion. Something will come after trillion for sure, right? There is no limit in counting money. But what is this number, friends? This is like place 38 and it's a huge number. Do you think this IP version 6 will finish anytime soon? In next 10 years or 100 years or maybe 500 years? What is the population of this earth? It is 8 billion. It is around 8 billion. So if every person is using some millions of addresses, still trillions of addresses will be available for free. Got it? IP version 4 is a design. IP version 6 is also a design. In IP version 4, we have this many numbers. How many numbers? We have like totally 32 bits. So we have like more than 4 billion numbers. We have more than 4 billion numbers. That was huge in 1980s or 1970s maybe. But in 1990s, that number was looking small. So what they have done, they have increased the number. But how they have increased? They have not increased from like 4 billion to like 10 billion. Imagine if they have increased from 4 billion to like 10 billion. Today, we would have said like, oh, 10 billion is also not a big number. Because, many people are using multiple devices. So now 10 billion is also not a big number, right? But what they have done, they have taken a very huge step. Instead of like, upgrading from 32 bits to like 48 bits or something, they have directly jumped into 128 bit. So 128 bit means it's a huge number. 128 bits means 2 power 128 will be like, I'm not sure what is this number, guys. I can't predict because it is crossing the millions and billions and trillions of value. So it is some number. You can just understand how big number is that. So what I'm trying to show you here is the IP version 6 is there forever. There will not be any new version coming. There is no need for any new version to come. IP version 4 was there for last 40 years. Still we are using IP version 4. Still we will use IP version 4 for many more years to come. Then once we move completely into IP version 6, that will be all about IP version 6 forever. So these are the two versions we have. One version is supporting, IP version 4 is supporting 32 bits, and IP version 6 is supporting, or IP not supporting in a way. IP version 4 have 32 bits and IP version 6 is designed with 128 bits. Now that is some story about IP address. We have discussed many things actually today, from very basic things to like very, very important things we have covered. When we come for the next class, that is tomorrow, we will see the binary number, decimal numbers, whatever is written here, we will see all these things in more and more details. Got it? As I said you before, this is one topic where I need to put a bit extra efforts, and I'm expecting the same efforts from your side, friends. So like I said, you please sit with a pen and a book, because I'll show you some calculations here. See, there are some numbers here. I'll show you some calculations. I'll ask you to do some calculations, and we can compare our answers. Then we can feel better. If you can learn something, then it will be great, right? So instead of just sitting and just listening, mathematics you cannot just watch and understand. You have to do practice. So all these things, if you want to learn perfectly, the only way is practice. So in our next class, we will enter deep into IP version 4, and we will see the decimal numbers and binary numbers and all those things. Done. So tomorrow will be the last day where you can use this particular link. I got a message yesterday, actually, friends. It's a common message. I'm just sharing with all. I know most of the people already paid the fees, but this is a common message that I need to share. Please try to receive the call from the management, because tomorrow will be the last day where you can use this link. This free link is available only till tomorrow. If you're really interested in continuing the class, then just try to register yourself, so that whatever link they change from Monday, you will get the new link, and you can just continue with that new link for your classes. Okay, anyhow, so I still have like a couple of minutes here. If you have any other questions, any doubts regarding this IP addressing, feel free to send me a queries. Okay, so the major things that we have covered in IP addressing is, we know what is the IP, we know what is the use of IP, we know what happens without IP address. These are the basic things. Then we have discussed like from where we are getting the IPs. There is an organization called Ayana, or we can go to the ISP. We can take the IP from ISP, but that ISP will take IPs from Ayana. That is under that Ayana control only. Okay, so those are the things we have discussed. And then we have seen the numbers, binary numbers, decimal numbers, hexadecimal numbers. These are the different ways in which we can write a particular value. Okay, so these are the numbers we have. Then we have seen IP version 4 and version 6. These are the two versions we have. And roughly I have showed you like how many numbers will be coming in IP version 4 and how many numbers are possible in IP version 6. More details that we will see from tomorrow. So by the time we entered in 2022 Friday, so hopefully on 6th or 7th of January 2022, we will finish our IP addressing, and the other part is subnetting. We will finish this part. Okay, friends, so that's it from me for today. And one more thing, like we have like some new friends today. If you want to revise the previous classes in CCNA, this was the main class actually. This was the first main class. Whatever we have done before this class, it was all about computer networks and topologies. It was the basic class. So if you have to just go through all the recorded sessions that we have, then it will be available on YouTube. Till today or maybe till tomorrow, the classes will be available on YouTube. But from Monday, whatever classes we conduct, we will share the classes directly with the students. We will not upload the classes on YouTube. Everything is not available on YouTube. Only initial 4 or 5 demos will be there. After that, the classes will be directly shared with you in your Google Drive. Okay, fine. That's it. I guess there is no question here. So that's it for today, friends. See you at same time. See you tomorrow. See, some people, I think some people, they have already paid money for MCAC as well as CCNA, but I cannot see them in MCAC class. They are absent today actually. Okay, so I'm just sending message to some of the people actually. Please see the message. Okay, message to one more person. Okay, I'm just sending direct messages, please. So don't worry. Okay, only CCNA, fine, no issues. Okay, so some people are coming only for CCNA, but it will be good for you if you can go with the server administration. Also think if you're interested, you can come at least from tomorrow. Else you can continue with your classes only in CCNA. Okay, I'm just sharing the number here, please. This is in management number. There are many numbers and one of the number is this 9246 212143. You can just contact with them on this number 9246 212143. Yeah. Okay, friends. So thanks again. Thanks for joining and see you tomorrow.